Welcome back to another Zero Context Patreon. Start advertising my Patreon content one out of context theater moment at a time. I finished up the last of the Bitten and Bound series, Kept. Then I jumped into the second book of the Blood and Ash series, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. The visions came faster, flowing like a million rivers, possibilities, uncertainties, mistakes, and tragedies. Avenor lay in his bed and closed his eyes. Avenor rode to war. Avenor terrorized his enemies, showing them possibilities more terrible than death. They invited the demons into their bloodlines, just as they lusted for power. There was power in blood. I saw Jordan in the library, blush in his cheeks as he looked at Ferric across the table. The past flowed around me, the scenes of my life tumbling as quickly as I did. Jordan stood in another library and touched the ribbon that dangled from a book. Those who read closely enough know the sword of the kings of Evandalia didn't always stay in its scabbard. Maybe this would be important if the author had chosen to focus on plot rather than the porn. Instead, I find myself annoyed over all this, because no matter what happens, you know it's going to be dumb and rushed simply so that the author can squeeze in one last sex in me for the ending all of this shit. I reached for her, commanded her, "Given, come back to me. I love you, come back to me." When I opened my eyes, I saw her gasp behind me, Lawrence at my side, Given floating up from the rift, her black gown fluttering in an invisible current. Blood covered her from hip to ankle. She was pale and still, her eyes closed like she was sleeping. Yeah, this is absolute fucking ass. Like, what the fuck is this? I think that I would have respected the author a lot more if she simply left Given dead. She sacrificed herself and then she's dead. The end. You know, Princess, it's not really fair of you to give birth to children. If you keep this up, you're going to make me think you're playing favorites. I'm sorry, but you don't enter into an MMF relationship as one of those men and then complain that there's a whole ass other aspect of men who isn't you who is fathering your wife's children. You can use her, Landell fumed. She's the queen's favorite, the chosen. If they were ever to release your brother, it'd be for her. Instead, we're going home for you to marry. I get what he's saying, but I feel like everyone here is missing the point. Poppy wasn't chosen because she's magical and special and was foretold by a dream given to the queen via the goddess and found under a cabbage leaf in the garden. She was fucking chosen because she's mostly vampire. Her blood would transform people into ascendants. She would be held prisoner, her blood constantly drained, and she would still be treated like absolute fucking shit. Yes, they could treat her for the vampire king, but again, kind of feel like they're missing the fucking point. Somehow. Did I tell you that a craven bit me? No, he answered quietly. Where? On my leg. Scarred as it was now, it looked like claws did it, but it was fangs. I said, unsure why I was talking or thinking about this. I never understood why I survived the bite while everyone else bitten and was cursed. I planned to tell you about it after we were together, but things happened. I didn't say anything before because it was another thing I was told to keep silent about. The queen told me it was because I was the maiden, the one chosen by the gods. That was why I didn't turn, but I wasn't chosen by anything or anyone. I looked over at him. It's because I'm part Atlantean, isn't it? Oh, so now you're finally starting to realize that there's some actual truth to what he's been telling you. Are you going to stop being a pig-headed idiot about everything and trying to run off and fight every 5 fucking seconds? Because it's seriously starting to get old. It may be a finite source here, but it doesn't need to be that way. The Ascended make it that way, he said, and a quick glance told me that he ditched a towel in favor of the pants he'd retrieved. They were looser than breeches, hanging indecently low on his hips, held up by some sort of drawstring that seemed to defy gravity. He gathered up her clothing, placing it all in a laundry hamper that he then placed outside the door. Closing the door, he said, a crucial part of their all-encompassing control is creating a rift between mortals who have mortals and who have not. Imagine choosing an aesthetic to lean into, and the one you pick ends up being a world where you don't have power and have to poo in a chamber pot because you don't have running water. Castile. Reality came back to me in pieces as a disorientation from the nightmare eased, and I began to realize that he was slowly rocking us. I knew I needed to pull away, should put some distance between us, but something about his embrace was grounding, something that felt inexplicably right in the aftermath of the blood and terror. Maybe it was because I often woke alone and then from the nightmare, shaken and terrified, especially after Ian left for the capital, and even with my screams often waking Tanya, I never allowed such comfort. I'd always been too embarrassed to seek it out for my lady's maid, but there wasn't another option now, and it was the first time I'd ever been relieved to have the choice taken from me. I closed my eyes, letting the warmth of Castile's body soak into mine. I am once again stating that it was little wonder that Poppy fell so hard and fast for the first person to treat her well. Like an actual person rather than an object. The bar is on the fucking ground here. Not all Atlanteans are the same, he remarked. Did your history books leave that out? History books? Babe, did you miss the entire propaganda bullshit thing? Is this your first day in the story? What is happening here? She only knows that Atlanteans are evil, and that's about it. Besides the fact that you've lied to me, kidnapped me, and planned to ransom me, you kept me locked in a room all day. How is that any better than what the Ascendant did to me my entire life? The warmth and amusement vanished under the ice-drenching Castiel's gaze. Because this time it was for your safety, I left harshly. Isn't that what they also claimed? A muscle tucked in his jaw. The difference is that they were lying to you and I'm not. I'm kind of on her side. This isn't freedom. It's simply going from a gold-plated cage to a cage covered in diamonds. The fact that she knows the truth now isn't the important part. The fact that you aren't giving her a choice in literally anything is the issue. And you believe that marrying me will remove me from danger? Making sure that people know you are part Atlantean and will become my wife should make you off limits, especially to those who still have some fear of death and actual common sense. But that's the problem. These people think that there is literally no other option. They aren't thinking rationally, and they are using fear to guide them. Take one look at what happened with Mr. Tulip. He wasn't in active danger, yet went out of his way to try and hurt Poppy because she represented the oppression that he and his family faced. Over my shoulder, I saw the others take their seats while Kieran moved to stand at Castiel's left and Alistair took this chair to his right where I had been seated earlier. Castiel looked up at me, the twist of his lips softening. What now felt his gaze was a challenge. My eyes narrowed and he arched a brow. There was nowhere else to sit. The only other option would be to stand behind him like a servant, and I refused to do that. There was a space at the end. Would you like this seat, Penelope? Alistair offered, knowing that seat at tables was often a demonstration of one's position. I knew I shouldn't accept the offer. This relationship hasn't even fucking started and it's already making me exhausted. These people are exhausting. Horace the dead horse here. It's little wonder that you guys haven't been able to do anything against your actual enemy when you're too busy playing Game of Thrones with your own people. I wouldn't be marrying her if I didn't plan on keeping her. My hearing had to be false to keep me, as if I were some sort of pet. Yes, this is why I have my doubts about him promising to divorce her. As I said in an earlier chapter, you know that Cass is going to refuse on the grounds that he's fallen in love with her or some shit. One of them, a king and queen, can only rule Atlantia for 400 years. It's designed that way so change can occur. If a child of theirs doesn't assume the throne, then anyone can come forward and challenge for it. My parents' reign has extended beyond the time frame, and because they don't believe Malik will return, they feel it is time for me to take the role. You know, I'll allow it. How many times have you read these books about immortals in charge in society? Stagnant simply because the leadership wasn't being allowed to change hands. Hell, that was the driving plot in the Cruel World series. How could they have known that I was missing? It had to be soon, especially given the storm. It had only clipped the western sides, but they would have expected it to slow us down. Yes, it has only been 2 days, but at the same time, we're fucking 14 chapters into this, and you're still sitting and yapping, and it's only been 2 fucking days. I'm not even angry about the painfully obvious plot device to actually get the plot started. This is getting ridiculous. A 2-for-1 special, a voice sounded from behind us. Perfect, run and hide, I told the boy, shoving him away. Hoping he listened, I squared off with the knife. Blood and gore covered his mouth in thick clumps. I was beginning to think the valve sounds didn't apply when they were hiding what they were. Either he hadn't been given a description of what I looked like, which didn't seem likely, or he was too lost to bloodlust. You want to know what would be really funny here? If they accidentally killed Poppy because of their bloodlust and had to report about it to the king and queen. Not like I think for a nanosecond that the author would actually do that, but come on, it would be hilarious! Dale is out scouting, making sure there is no unexpected traffic on the western roads. I can't leave until I'm sure that there are no immediate threats to the keep, he explained, and that made sense. I hope we will be able to leave by morning or the following day at the latest. I know that Poppy was injured, but holy shit, the fact that they not only returned there but are continuing to be there for another fucking full day is so maddening to me. Sometime later, I sat at the desk at the library, skimming the Atlantean records. I barely saw the letters, even the ones I couldn't read. My thoughts were in a million different places, and I couldn't focus. Sitting back in the chair, I sighed heavily. Is there something you wanted to discuss? Kieran looked up from whatever book he had been thumbing through. Castiel had left him in charge of me while we met with the families of those who had lost a loved one. Why are you still there? Is there some part of others will come looking for them when they fail to show back up that I'm misunderstanding here? We are leaving for Atlantia, and it only took 245 motherfucking pages to get to the singular point. But you want to know what else is true right now? You are destroying an intricate section of the system that has chained an entire kingdom for hundreds of years, he added. You should never forget that you were once an accessory, but you also shouldn't forget where you are now a part of. I'm not sure that that's necessarily true. Poppy was put into a position to be a figurehead, but once behind closed doors, well, she would be nothing more than a feeding bag for Hundred Ascended. Considering the fact that she's only half Atlantean, I doubt that she would have survived for long. If they don't actively work to do something to stop all of this, I'll bet that things would simply keep ticking on, continuing the same as they always have, which is why I'm so frustrated that this was the Tulips did. Them betraying Poppy and trying to kill her will accomplish nothing in the long term. It only makes you feel better right now. Pompeii, the last Atlantean stronghold. What I saw taking shape out of the darkness of night stole whatever I was about to say. First it was the rise, or what was left of the crumbling walls. Only sections by the entry stood, where no gates existed, stretching dizzying heights into the sky. The rest couldn't be more than 5 feet, and most of what the piles of broken stone. We run into a town that no longer existed. Burned out homes lined the road, most missing. Entire walls were destroyed down to their foundations. No people were about, no candlelight from any windows of the homes that at least had 4 walls and a roof. Only the sounds of the horses' hooves clattering off the cobblestones could be heard as we traveled further, passing larger buildings atop of pillar structures I imagined once held meetings or offered entertainment. Trees were nothing more than skeletons, dead and decaying, and there was no sense of life anywhere. Whatever had happened here had occurred during the war. The land would have reclaimed the buildings and streets by now if that were the case. Pompeii is a burnt-out husk of a town, you say? Try to be a bit more subtle, would you? Why had he wanted me? Why did he still want me? Did you fucking miss the part about his grand plan to rescue his brother with your help? He's only said it like 5 times. You're not asking for advice, but I'm going to give it to you nonetheless. This time I truly hope your lesson has absolute eyes meant mine. Don't bring up Shay with Cass. This is a road you don't want to travel with him, ever. I get that this book is trying to downplay the relationship that Cass and Poppy have, but if the series wants for it to finally go from fake dating to actually in love, it had better cut out the toxic "don't talk about his dead girlfriend" bullshit out. It may be expected, especially since you're not a full-blooded Atlantean, but it wouldn't exactly be the easiest of conversation with somebody who didn't grow up in Atlantia, he started to stand, and it's one I was eternally grateful I never needed to explain to my daughter. Wait, I lifted my hand. What is it? You should ask Castiel. You should tell me since you brought it up, I pointed out. What is this thing? The joining. Why the fuck does this guy keep bringing up shit and then refusing to explain it to her? At this point, I'd rather that he simply fuck off if he's going to continue to be like this. Then I thought of having this conversation with Kieran, and I wanted to take a wire brush to my brain. As handsome as I believed Kieran to be, I couldn't even begin to imagine doing something like that with him and Castile. We literally finished that book. Let's not introduce more MMF stuff. Plus the possibility of Poppy being bonded to a 4th woman. Do you think that it would be a female woman for some bisexual stuff for Poppy, or would it simply be MMMF? Now, there was embarrassment when I thought of Kieran, the woman who must have known about the tradition. Why the fuck are we still talking about this? Either shit or get off the pot. Have a threesome with Kieran or get off the fucking subject. Vanetta then asked about how I learned to fight, and minutes ticked away, the sandwiches disappeared. Oh, so the author does know how to not give us the intimate details of every fucking conversation. Then why the fuck did we spend an entire motherfucking page talking about sandwiches? I can relieve people's pains with my touch, but only temporarily, and you can read emotion, she said, obviously knowing enough about my bloodline. You're an empath. I nodded and looked to where Castiel knelt beside me. He was looking over his shoulder to where the others had gone back into the house, but I've never done that before, I said, and Castiel faced me. I honestly don't think he was badly hurt as we feared. His legs were completely broken, Bonita said. They were smashed and twisted. I shook my head. That's impossible. It's really not. The empaths could heal. By the book's own definition, that's not what empaths do. You can't simply have one definition and then 5 seconds later change your mind and say that there's something else. You can pretend that this isn't because you don't have a of need me. Editor! Anybody seen an editor within 10 feet of this book? I wasn't caged anymore, evil and captive. I just hadn't noticed none of the doors had been locked from the outside. Gods, realizing that did something to me. It unlocked the rawest emotion inside me, and it hit me hard. Sinking to the floor, I crossed my hand over my face as tears poured from me. The doors were unlocked. There were no guards and no one to govern me. If I wanted, I could have simply walked out and go, well, wherever I wanted. I didn't have to sneak out or pick a lock. Yeah, no, baby, don't owe these people fucking jack shit. Take your orgasms and go. Live your life someplace quiet, preferably with a man who will treat you right and not like a stepping stone to his own self-wants. I mean, I don't understand how the speaker for the woman doesn't expect you to marry a woman, but some of your people do. Other women did, namely Landel, and apparently your father, and I guess even Alistair at one point. It's almost like the king of the Wolvens can see the bigger picture here, whereas even the vampire king is so short-sighted as to think that a political marriage could magically fix all of their problems. When your leader tells you that this is how the political system currently is, maybe you should listen to them. Stay connected by joining Patreon as a free member, which gives you access to the same content you've been enjoying on Tumblr. However, for just $1 a month, you can join my Patreon and gain access to this month's book snark, plus enjoy early access to my free daily snark. Thanks for watching. See you next month, guys.